Hi again then guys, and welcome to another Forza Horizon 3 speed build, this time for a slightly more specialised and more niched vehicle. Basically a variation on the theme of the Lotus 7, in a similar way to cars like the Caterham or the Westfield vehicles. This though is much more exclusive than something like a Caterham. It's the Donkervoort D8 GTO, and this car is kind of to Caterham what Spiker is to many other sports cars, that much more niched, ultra rare, more exclusive, kind of oddball alternative. Now, as far as the engine conversions, I would recommend the 3-litre race engine. For the drivetrain, as I always would, I would recommend all-wheel drive. If you don't want all-wheel drive, then of course you don't have to do that, but just know of course you won't necessarily be quite as quick in terms of launch or get the power down as well off-road. Of course you want to upgrade your aspiration to the twin turbo to get the peak power. As far as the visuals, of course that's down to you, and for the rest, you guys pretty much know the drill. Improve the power as much as you can, fit all of your race parts basically, lower the weight as well. Now this tune is not on my storefront, so you will need to copy this tutorial if you want it. As far as acceleration, it's fantastic, which is probably what you'd expect from a car like this. 1.6 to 60, 3.8 to 100, that is very good. That can give most supercars or even hypercars a great run for their money. Top end wise, it's not as quick as some, but of course you'll have seen that from the title of the video. You're looking basically as a good rival to stuff like some of the aerial models, or the Caterham, or the Radical even. It's not quite as quick as the Radical, but those kind of vehicles, which are its natural rivals anyway. Now as far as the gearbox, I've got 4.6 on the final drive, which is relatively high to what we usually have at least. Then we've got 2.9 for the individual gears, 2, 1.5, 1.19, 0.96 and 0.77. For the alignment, as I often would, I've got neutral camber, neutral toe. I've gone for 1 degree of caster for manoeuvrability, but as I always say, you can change any of these settings to personalise it more to you. That's why I leave many of them very open to interpretation. As far as anti-roll, I've just rounded those to 18 and 23. Springs we've got on 43, 58 and the lowest ride height overall. Dampers we've got on 10, 12 and then 5. Aero doesn't apply, and for the diff I've opted for 100% on acceleration, 0 for decel, and for this particular car, which of course lends itself more towards cornering in general, an 80% split in favour of that back end. So that's it for the tune overall, but now let's actually take it out on the street of course to see what it's capable of. Now, if a vehicle like the Caterham is, at least as far as I'm concerned, the Land Rover of the sports car world, then this, as I mentioned earlier, is very much so the Koenigsegg or the Spiker of the sports car world. It's got that exclusivity, that oddball factor, and personally, although I am not a fan of Caterham style vehicles, or actually lightweight track cars in general, they just don't really do it for me, this one is probably one of my preferred in the class. Top end wise, it's not quite as quick as something like an Atom, that can do over 250, but it's still quick enough for most scenarios and situations where you'll use this car. This is not a car or a tune for people who want to outrun everything for top end speed. It's just a car or a tune which gives the car that top end ability for when you need and want it from this specific car. So overall, if you do decide to use the Donkervoort, which is an interesting alternative to some of the other lightweight track cars, and use this tune for it, I hope obviously you have a lot of fun with it. And if you enjoyed it, there are plenty more tunes like this here on the channel, but for now, as always, thanks for watching.